Welcome to this predicted paper from On Maths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our On Maths site. On Maths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! So we need to first of all understand what a cube number is. So a cube number is the answer to when you get three integers or whole numbers and we multiply them by themselves three times. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So 1, 8, 27, 64, 125 are all cube numbers, and it goes on forever. And this question's asked us to find all the odd, or an odd, cube number that is smaller than 100. So it has to be odd, so that gets rid of the 8 and the 64. And it has to be smaller than 100, so that gets rid of the 125. So I can either write down 1 would be a fine answer, or 27. I'm going to go for 1. If there were 39 people on the bus and 4 people got off the bus, that would leave 35 people remaining on the bus. So the fraction of people staying on the bus is 35 out of the 39 people on the bus. So our answer is, as a fraction, 35 over 39. We can't cancel that any further. So with this question, we need to first of all count how many sides this polygon has. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 sides. And we just need to know that a 10-sided shape is a decagon. Now we are expected to know all of the names of shapes between 3 and 10 sides, so if you don't know them already, just sit down and learn them. For us to create the smallest number, we need to pick the smallest digits at the start of the number. So the smallest digit is 3, then the next smallest digit is 4, next smallest digit is 5, then the next smallest digit is 8. But it wants it to be an odd number, and this is an even number. So we have to move that 8 forward 1 and have that 5 at the end. So the smallest odd number is 3,485. So we've just got to know some vocab. Faces are where you could lay your hand flat on a shape. Then you've got edges where you can run your finger along. And then vertices are the corners, the bits that you would stab into your finger. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the front, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, including the back ones. If we write in how many sides each shape has, triangle has 3, quadrilateral 4, pentagon 5, hexagon 6, you'll notice the number of vertices is twice the amount of each of them. So if a shape has 15 sides, we just times that by 2 and it will have 30 vertices. If you imagine these numbers written out as a list, there would be 5 lots of zeros, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There'd be 9 lots of 1, so 1, 1, etc, etc. Okay, so when we're looking to see the total number of goals scored in the season, we could write them out as a list and then add them up. But a quicker way of doing that is just multiplying the amount of goals by the frequency. So we've got 5 lots of 0 goals, which will just be 0. 9 lots of 1 goal, so that's just 9. 4 lots of 2 goals, so that's 8. 6 lots of 3 goals, that's 18. And then 6 lots of 4 goals, that's 24. So all we need to do now is add up the 0, 9, 8, 18 and 24, which brings us to 59. So there were 59 goals scored. We're going to start off with a dot at minus 13. And it says that x can be greater than minus 13. And greater is to the right of that. and it goes on forever, so we just put a little arrow saying it goes on forever. Last thing we do is check to see whether it's hollow or a filled in dot. Well, this cannot be equal to -13, so it remains a hollow dot. So firstly, we're going to work out what the percentage increases are as a multiplier. So we start off with 100%. Jane has a 1.2% interest pay rise, sorry, and so that would be 101.2%, and we divide that by 100 to make it a multiplier. So the multiplier is 1.012, so we get the 20,000 times it by 1.012, and that gives us 240. Next we do the same for Lenny, so that is Jane. And so let's do Lenny. And so that's 100% plus the 1.5% will be 101.5%. Make that a multiplier, 101.5%. We divide that by 100. Which give us 1.015, and then finally what we do is we get the 17,000 times it by the multiplier, and when we do that we get 255. So Lenny has 255, Jane has 240, so it says which of the employers has a larger pay increase and by how much. So the answer will be Lenny, and it's by £15 because that's the difference between these. So you do need to know the parts of a circle. So the full distance around the circle is called the circumference. If you've got a little bit of it, it's an arc. If you've got a line across it, that would be a chord, and the part that's kind of trapped in there is called a segment. Then if you've got a line across the circle going through the centre, that's a diameter. If you've got a line just going to the centre, if I can draw it properly, then that's called a radius. If you've got a line that touches the circle just on one point, like that, that's a tangent. But in this case, we have a sector. So the pass mark for the test is here. And we can see that there are 2 students who passed the test. So it's 2 students out of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in total. And we want this as a percentage, so we're going to times it by 100%. So we do 2 over 7 times 100, and that gives us 28.571, blah, blah, blah. And it says it wants it to the nearest percent, so that will be 29%. So we have an original amount, and this represents 100% of the original amount. The new price, or new amount, represents 113% because it has said that it has gone up by 13%. So it has increased by 13%. And as a value, that increase is £1,287. So it's 13% of the original. It's gone up 13% of the original price. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out what 1% of the price increase is. Instead of 13%, we're going to work out what 1% is. And we're going to do that by dividing the amount by 13. And we get 99. So 1% represents £99. So 1% of the original represents £99. But the new amount is 113%. So we need to times the £99 by 113, which gives us £11,187. So the picture is now worth £11,187. So for this question, we need to understand that the units we currently have are in meters per second, and the units we want to get them to or convert them to are kilometers per hour. Now, to convert the meters part is quite easy, because all we need to do is divide by 1,000. And when you divide the top of a fraction by 1,000, all you do is you just divide the whole thing by 1,000. So we're just going to divide the whole thing by 1,000. So we've got 95, and we're going to divide the whole thing by 1,000, so we get 0.095, and that's going to be kilometers per second, because we haven't dealt with the seconds yet. So that's the easy part. The more difficult part is converting the seconds to hours. So to convert seconds to hours, we divide by 60 and then divide by 60. So we divide it by 360. Seems simple enough. But the seconds are at the bottom of a fraction, and when you divide the bottom of a fraction by something, you actually times the whole fraction by that thing. So we're going to times the whole fraction by 360. And so we do 0.095 times 360, and you get the answer of 342 kilometers per hour. So our answer is 342 kilometers per hour. You will need to use a paper and pencil to do this physically. You can't really do this on the computer. And make sure you have a ruler and a compass. So the first thing we're going to do is draw our 10 centimeter line. And we're going to get our compass, and we're going to measure the 6 centimeters for the left hand side. So we're going to measure 6 centimeters on our compass, and we're going to just put a little arc there. Going to do the same on the other side for 8 centimeters. So we're going to do our 8 centimeter arc from the right hand side, and we're going to put the point of the compass here. And it should be like that. And you can see where the two arcs overlap, which is here, and we can join these up with straight lines. And it says to measure the angle X, so we're going to need a protractor for this bit. I'm going to put our protractor here with the crosshairs matching here. So we're going to be looking at the inside, or the outside one, and it comes up as 37 degrees. So our answer is 37 degrees. The experimental probability is the successful outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So we're looking for the probability that it's white. So it's going to be 25 over, and we're just going to do 35 plus 25 plus 31, which is 91. And that's our probability, 25 over 91. Be careful when it say total, you must include all of the outcomes, so red, white, and other. So 7 times 10 to the power 4 is going to be 7, and it's going to be 70,000. And 9 times 10 to the power of 7 will be 90 million. And so when you add them together, you get 900700000. Now, if you have access to a calculator, if this is on the calculator paper, then you can just type it into your calculator. Some people think there's a quick way of doing this, like adding the 7 and the 9. There isn't. You've just got to work out what this number is, work out what this number is, and add them together. So to find the gradient, we need the formula, or the equation, in the form y equals mx plus c. And the m there will give us what the gradient is. So we're just going to be rearranging this equation. And so I'll get my lines in. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the x's from the left hand side, and we can do that by adding 6x both sides. So we've got 6y equals, and I'm going to put the 6x first, just to match the y equals mx plus c. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 6, because we just want a y there. So we're going to divide by 6 both sides. So we've got y equals 1x plus 36. Now we shouldn't really write 1, but because we're looking for m, we're looking for the number before x, I've kind of left it in there to show that the gradient will be 1. So first thing to realise is that the formula for a volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. So what we need to do first of all is work out the volume of the water butt that James currently has. So we're going to do the volume equals pi times the radius, which is 89 squared, times the height, which is 189. And when we do that, we get 1497,069 lots of pi. And I'll keep this in terms of pi just for simplicity. Now, what we want is we want the volume to stay the same. So we're going to keep that as the volume, 1497,069 pi. But we want the radius to change. So instead of the radius being 89, we want the radius to be 103. So times 103 squared. And we're trying to work out what the height is. Okay, so first thing we can do actually is just cross off the pi's from both sides. We don't really need them at all. And then we can get our solving things in, our solving lines, and we can divide both sides by the 103 squared. And on the left hand side we get 141.113 blah blah blah, and on the right hand side we get h. So the height will be 141.113. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so that will be 141.11. So if we imagine we've got the 25 meter pipe here, and we've got the 35 meter pipe here. The question's basically asking us, what can we cut all these pipes into, and they all have to be the same length, that will fit with the 25 meter and the 35 meter. And essentially what this question's asking is, what is the highest common factor of 25 and 35? So to find the highest common factor, what we do is we just find the factors of 25, which is 1, 25, and 5, and 5, and the factors of 35, which will be 1 and 35, and 5 and 7. And the highest common factor is the number in both lists, the highest number in both lists, so it's 5. So what we can do is we can cut all of these pipes into 5 meter pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, not to scale, and then 7 of these. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and so there's 7 in total. So each of these are 5 meter long, and there's no wastage. And that's the longest we can make the pipes for there to be no wastage at all. So my answer is 5 meters. So angles on a point add up to 360, and we are given the values of the angles, but in terms of r. So we know that r plus 9r plus 20 will equal 360. So we've got an equation here we can solve. So first of all, let's add the r's together, and so that will be 10r plus 20 equals 360. Then we're going to subtract the 20 from both sides. So we have 10r equals 340. And then we're going to divide by 10 both sides. So we have R equals 34. So our answer is 34. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor. And you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half A plus B times H. And A and B are the parallel sides. So these ones are the parallel sides. And the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula. So it'd be half A plus B H. So half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared. And it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack. So we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need. So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. So we're going to write an expression for the amount of people on the first bus. So they've started with X passengers and they've gone to 11 bus stops with X passengers. So altogether that is 12X. So we're going to have the first bus. And so we've got 12X. And then on the last bus stop, 19 passengers get on. So plus 19. Now for the second bus, well, we start with X and a further 5X come on. Because 5 bus stops with X passengers, so that's 6X altogether. And then 79 get on. And it says the first bus finishes with less passengers than the first. So the first bus finishes with less. And the way we show that is with this inequality here. Now all we need to do is solve that inequality. And we've got X on both sides, so we look at the X's. We've got 12X and 6X, so we always take away the smaller amount. So we're going to take away the 6X both sides. And next thing we're going to do is take away the 19 from both sides. And so, meant to be 60. Got ahead of myself. And the last thing we do is divide by 6 both sides. And so we've got X is less than 10. Now, It says here, assuming no passengers got off either bus, what is the largest value for x? Now it is tempting to write down 10, but it says x has to be less than 10. So the biggest number we can get that is less than 10 is 9. So factorise means to put it into a bracket, and it looks like it's a quadratic here, but it's actually just a linear factorising because we don't have a number term. So we're going to just use one bracket for this. And looking at these terms, I'm going to focus first on the numbers. So 20 and 30, I can divide both of those by 10, and that will leave 2 and 3. So that's the numbers done. Next I'm looking at the t terms. So we've got t squared there and a t there. So we can divide out a t, but that will leave a t on the first term. And finally I'm going to look at the u, and there's just a u on both of them I can factorise out, and actually that just leaves nothing on the inside of the bracket. Now always when you do this, expand the bracket to check if you've made any mistakes. So I'm going to do smiles and rainbows. There's loads of different methods. So 10 times 2 is 20, t times t is t squared, and then the u, plus 10 times 3 is 30, times t times u. So we know we've got the right answer. So our answer is 10tu brackets 2t plus 3. So I'm going to start off just with a quick sketch, and we know that the bearing of B from A is 85 degrees. So we're going to have A here and B here. And let's just draw a line between them. And let's do both our north lines. And so we know that this angle here is 85 because it's the angle on the bearing of B from A, so it's 85 degrees. So now it says work out the bearing of A from B. So the first thing we can do is actually just draw a line going down here, and we know that this angle here will also be 85 degrees because of alternate angles. It's always best to write that down somewhere, so we can just put in brackets here alternate angles, and we know that this angle here is going to be 180 degrees because it's a straight line. And I'm not a fan of doing the reasons on the diagram, so maybe perhaps I should have labelled this an x and this a y and written x equals 85 and y equals 180 somewhere else. And so to work out what the bearing is, I just need to do 180 plus 85. So 180 plus 85 is going to be 265 degrees. So to find the area of a rectangle, we just multiply the width and the length. So that's what we're going to do here. But whenever you have an expression representing a length or a width or anything really, you just put brackets around it. So we go u minus 2 times u plus 9. Okay, and the way we do this is with our grid. And just going to draw out the grid. And so we've got u minus 2, and we're multiplying it by u plus 9. Don't want too many for some reason. And so we've got u times u, which is u squared, u times minus 2, which is minus 2u, 9 times u, which is 9u, and 9 times minus 2, which is minus 18. And what we're going to do is we're just normally going to be able to add these ones together. So our answer will be u squared, and then we're going to do 9u plus minus 2u. Well, that's just going to be 9u take away 2u, which is 7u. So plus 7u, and then minus 18 at the end. So we're looking for angle DEC, which is this one here, but we can't go directly there. We've got to kind of work our way towards it. And the first thing I'm going to look at is these set of parallel lines here. And we've got a line going through these parallel lines. which is this line, if I try and do it without removing it, this line here. And so therefore this angle here and this angle are going to be corresponding. So this is going to be 69 degrees. So I need to write that down properly. So angle CDE equals 69 degrees because of corresponding angles. Okay. So if I know that the CDE is 69, I also will know that this angle here is 69 because they're the bottom two angles in a triangle. Now, when I say that, I mean when an isosceles triangle is the right way up, the bottom two angles are equal. So they're the bottom two angles in an isosceles, although the isosceles is on its side here. And we need to write that down, so it would be angle DCE equals 69 degrees, and this time it's because it's an isosceles triangle. And finally, we can work out what CED is by taking those away from 180. So angle CED, or actually I should keep it as it says in the question, DEC is equal to 180, take away the 69 plus 69. And the reason for that is angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. And when you do that, you get the answer of 42 degrees. So the answer is 42 degrees. We know that when you multiply powers with the same base, and here we've got all these as base v, you add the powers. So we're actually looking at what do we add to 11, which is this one here, to get to the 15. 11 plus 4 is 15. So w therefore equals 4. The formula for an exterior angle for a regular polygon is 360 divided by the amount of sides. Now here we're given the fact that the exterior angle is 30 and we're looking for n, so we just need to rearrange the equation. We can times both sides by n. And then divide both sides by 30. And so we've got n equals 360 divided by 30. And when you do 360 divided by 30, we get the answer of 12. So it's a 12-sided shape. To see if a number's in a sequence, we get the nth term and we get it equal to the number we think is in the sequence. And if the number is in the sequence, then we'll get an integer for n. If the number's not in the sequence, then we'll get a decimal. So we're just solving this now, and we're doing 135 take away 24, which is 111. And then we're going to divide both sides by 10, and you're probably already seeing the fact that it doesn't work exactly because n is 11.1, which means that Prism is wrong. 135 can't be in that sequence. The formula for the circumference of a circle is circumference equals pi times the diameter. In this question, we're given the fact that the circumference is 37.7 and we're asked to find the diameter. So if we put our lines in, all we need to do is divide both sides by pi. So we've got 37.7 divided by pi equals the diameter. And so that is, when you round, well, it's 12.00 blah blah blah. Round to the nearest integer, that would be 12 centimeters. And we can try it by typing in 12 times pi, and we get what would round to 37.7. So we're going to first of all convert the 11 litres into millilitres. So we're going to do 11 times 1,000, which would be 11,000. Okay, so we're going to just draw a line, like a number line. And we're going to have the 11,000 in the middle. Now, what would be the next one down if we're looking at to the nearest 10 mil? So we're going to add a 10 mil on, which will be 11,010, and we're going to take the 10 mil away. So 11,000 take away 10 mil will be 10, what is it, 990. Now when we're looking at limits, with the upper and lower part of it, we are looking at halfway points. So halfway here and halfway here. So this halfway point will be 10,995, and the next one will be 11,005, and that's the halfway points. And so that is going to be our upper and lower bound. And we just need to say that V can be anything above the 10,995 and including that, and it can be anything below 11,005, but it can't include that, because if it did, if it was 11,005, it would have rounded up to 11,010. With this question, you've just got to know what the different functions look like. So with C and D, we've got quadratic functions. One's a positive quadratic, which is a U shape. One's a negative quadratic, which is a kind of upside down U shape or an N shape. And here we don't have that, so we can get rid of those in our thoughts straight away. A is a positive cubic, which goes up, then down, then up again. And B is a negative cubic, which goes down, up, and then down again. So this one here goes up, down, up again. That's going to be a positive cubic. So our answer is A. So we're going to start off with 100%. And it says that the card depreciates. That means goes down by, so it goes down by 1.7% every year. So we do 100 take away 1.7, which is 98.3, and that's percent. And we want that as a decimal, or as a multiplier we call it. And so we just divide it by 100 to make it into a decimal, 0.983. And that's our multiplier. And the beautiful thing about a multiplier is we just need the amount of years. Well, it says from 1980 to 1985, so that's going to be 5 years. So it's going to be 5 years. And so what we do is we get the original amount, which was 2,245, and times it by the multiplier 5 times. Now I can't be bothered on my calculator to times it by 0.983 5 times. So what you can do is you can do it to the power of 5, which basically means the same thing. And that gives us 2060.553. And when we round that, that would be £2,060 and 55 pence. So when we're doing column vectors and adding and subtracting them, we just literally add and subtract the top and bottom numbers. So A plus B minus C will be, just looking at the top, 9 plus 18 minus 9, 9 plus 18 minus 9, which will equal 18. And the bottom will be 9 plus minus 18, so really minus 18, and minus 9, and so that will be minus 18. So our column vector will become 18 minus 18. First thing I'm going to do is add these column vectors. So we're going to add the tops first, and then we're going to add the bottoms. So it's plus minus 14. And so at the top it would be minus 4, and 11 take away 14 is minus 3. Then I go pick a point on my shape, and the bottom, or the top one, tells us how far right we're going. So we know we're going 4 to the left because it's obviously a negative. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom one tells us how far up we're going. Well, it's going to be down because it's a -3. So 1, 2, 3. And we can do that for each of the other points. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when we've done that, we can join them all up with straight lines. And label the new shape B. There are a few different ways you could answer this question. I'm going to do it with a tree diagram, but you didn't need to draw a tree diagram to answer this question. So we've got our first tree, which is our first bus. And the choices are male and female. And we've got our second kind of branch, I suppose. And it's still male and female. And this is our second bus. So the property of male on a first bus is 9/15. And therefore the property of female is 1 minus 9/15, which would be 6/15. Male on the second bus is 7/15. And so female would be 8/15 because they need to add up to 1. And it's independent, so these will be the same. And the question is basically asking what is the probability that both will be female. So to have both female, we need to have gone down this line at the start and then this line again. Okay, so looking at the fractions along the way, it's 6/15 and 8/15. The word "and" in probability means times. So whenever you're finding the probability of getting to an outcome, so this outcome will be FF, because they're both female, you are multiplying the fractions that you go across. So it would be 6/15 times 8/15. So 6 times 8 is 48. And times the bottoms, 15 times 15 is 225. Now you can actually cancel that down. So what you can do is you can divide top and bottom by 4. And that will give you 16. Is it 4? No. You can times top and bottom by 3. And that would be 16/75. So either 48/225 or 16/75. So the first term will be 50 to the power of 1. Anything to the power of 1 is just itself, so that will just be 50. The next one will be 50 squared. So that's going to be 50 times 50, which would be 5 times 5 times 10 times 10. 25 times 100, which would be 250. 2,500 even. And then the last one is 50 cubed. So that's going to be the 2,500 times 50 again. And so when you times that out, you get 125,000. So this question is a simultaneous equations question. And so we're going to have to write down some equations. So it says 2 apples and 3 pears cost £3.80. So 2 apples, I'm going to call it A for the price of an apple, plus 3 pears, so 3p, cost £3.80. Now I'm going to do this as 380 just because it's easier to work with integers rather than decimals. And it says 3 apples, so 3a, plus 8 pears costs £7.80. or 780 pence. Okay, so the first thing I do is try and get these numbers the same. So 3 and 8, they both go into 24, so I need to make them both 24. And what some people do is they just label this A and this B. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply everything in equation A by 8, so that this becomes 24. So it's going to become 8A. And so we're going to times the 2A by 8, which will be 16a plus 24p, and 380 times 8 is 3040. And we're going to do the same with b, but this time we're going to times it by 3, so we're going to have 3b. And we're just going through everything here and we're timesing it by 3. So 9a plus 24p, which is good, that's what we wanted. And 780 times 3 is 2340. So now we've got both of these the same coefficient. What we can do is we can eliminate going downwards. Now, if they are the same, the s in same is the s in subtract. If they were different signs, so if these weren't both positive, if one of them was negative, different, the d in different is the d in add. So here they are the same, so we are going to subtract, and we're going to subtract going downwards. So we're going to start off by doing, and I can just do a little line here to show what we're doing. So we're subtracting going downwards, and we're going to do 16a take away 9a, which will be 7a. 24p take away 24p, which is nothing, which is why we did that, is to eliminate them. And then 3040 take away 2340 will be 700. Then I can put my lines in, and all I need to do now is just divide both sides by 7, and I get a equals 100. So we know that apples cost 100, or £1. We need to work out what pears cost. So I just need to pick one of the equations. I'm just going to pick this top one here, and I'm going to write it out. But instead of a, we know that a is £1 or 100 pence. So plus 3p equals 380. So that's going to be 200 plus 3p is 380. And then again, I'm just going to draw my lines down. And we're going to subtract 200 from both sides. So it's going to be 3p equals 180. And then we're going to just divide by 3 both sides. And we've got p equals 60. So a pear costs 60. Now we can check this by using the other equation there. So 3 times 100 is 300, plus 8 lots of 60 is going to be, what's that, 480? So it's going to be 780. So we know that we've got it right. There's a lot going on with this question, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in all of the time signs that we don't normally show. So we've got 10 times 12x times y to the power 4 times 13 times x to the power 4 times y to the power 4. And I'm going to reorder these to put the numbers together, first of all. And with multiplying, it doesn't matter which way around you do it, so I'm not changing anything. I'm going to put the x's together. And I'm going to put the y's together. So, first thing to do is 9 times 13, which is just 117. Then we've got x to the power of 12 times x to the power of 4. Now we know when we multiply two powers of the same base, and the base is x on both of those, we just add the powers. So it's 12 plus 4, which is 16. It'll be x to the power of 16, and then y to the power of 4 times y to the power of 4, we just add them together, so it's y to the power of 8. To find the perimeter of this sector, we've got to first of all find out the length of the arc, which will be this part here. And the formula for arc length is, first of all, we find out the fraction of the circle we have. So we put the angle over 360, and that will tell us the fraction of the circle that the sector is. And then all we do is we times that by the circumference, which is pi d. And so that's going to be 49 over 360 times pi times, and the diameter would be twice the radius. The radius is 7, so it would be times 14. When we do all of that, we get 5.986, blah, blah, blah. But that is not the perimeter yet. Perimeter needs to include, get the right ones, needs to include these parts here. So the perimeter will be the 5.986 plus a radius plus another radius. And when we do that, we get 19.986, blah blah blah. And we want to round it to 2 decimal places, so that will be 19.99 centimetres. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our OnMaths site. OnMaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.